What's up, guys? We got Beyblade Burst Surge, episode 9. Is it a dream or is it a nightmare? Let's get into it! Okay, so this episode starts off with Hikaru and get back at their family restaurant where they go to the Rainbow Tree Arena, and Ranjiro is waiting for them. And then they see Ranjiro, and Ranjiro is like, "Hey, you guys defeated Lane. What's you guys bowed it. You guys were there, and you guys saw the battle really against Lane. He must be really strong in the. He's gonna be really strong in the Legend Festival." And Hikaru is like, "You could battle Lane." And he's like, "You did?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Did you win?" And he's like, "No, I lost." And then we get into a flashback of Hyuga versus Lane on Ogre Island, and not Shrek's Island. I wanted to make that joke. I'm sorry. Anyway, they let it rip. Hyuga sees the barrier for the first time and is like, "Whoa, that bay has a barrier?" And yeah, and totally loses. So then they're like, "Hey," Ranjiro's like, "Hey, the big higher ups at the WBA are like, they saw Carter's skill at battling Louis, so they've given him the final spot of the Legend Festival because he's gone to rank A, meaning Hyuga can't be in the Legend Festival." And he's like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "All the spots have been filled up." So Hyuga just runs off, and his dad comes by, and he's like, "Hey," I think his name is Noboru, but anyway, he's like, "Here's some food," and Hyuga just eats it, and he's like, "Yeah, this restoring my ignitement." So then he goes back and he's like, "Hey, this is starting my reignitement." So anyway, then we got into the next episode, which is called GT is Here, which I think they're going to call it Rise is Here, or going to call it Ready to Rise. But anyway, let's start off this episode. Okay, so this episode starts out at the family restaurant where Hikaru and Hyuga are running, and they run past someone, and that someone is Dante Koryu. And Dante Koryu is like, "Where's Hikaru and Hyuga?" And he goes into the common gym, and he's like, "Guy, are you Hyuga? Chuck, are you Hyuga? Are you Hyuga?" And they're like, "No." And they're like, "That must be Guy, you're Hikaru." And he's like, "You must be Hikaru," and Rika's like, "No, she's not Hikaru or Hyuga." He's like, "Then where are they?" And it basically becomes like a goose chase of him going back to the Hikaru and Hyuga going back to it. It comes like a montage of them going. They learn about Dante. They figure out that Dante is who he is. But then they tell the others that Dante is looking for. Hikaru and Hyuga tell Rika, Gun, Guy, and Chuck tell Hikaru and Hyuga that Dante's looking for him, that he beats the cat guy and all his friends, and then Ranjiro comes in. They run past him, and then Ranjiro finally runs into him, and he's like, "This guy's a legend." He's like, "Battling a legend?" So he's like, "Let's have a battle." So Dante's like, "This is my big Triumph Dragon, or Tempest Dragon in Japan," and he's like, "We know White Clyde Rockford." So Cardi get to the Rainbow Tree Arena, and they're like, "Hey, Dante's battling Captain? I thought we were supposed to battle us." And so Dante does the same launch form that he did in Rise, just with a spark launcher this time, and Ranjiro does the same launcher he's been doing since this season, and they get into the battle. they get into the battle, and yeah, so Ranjiro decides to spin around the Surge Crater. I think it's called Surge Crater, and decides to and goes rock Devore, glide tornado. But Dante's like, dragon, and goes extreme recoil or double bound in Japan, and bursts rock Devore. And it seems like Dante has now changed his shirt from having one D on his shirt to having two. So does that mean it originally had Dante, now it has Dante and Dragon? I don't know. But yeah, but Dante just runs out. He's like, see you in the Legends Festival, and he just runs off. And Hikaru and Hiro are like, hey Dante, you came here to battle us, and that's how the episode ends. So anyway, this episode was pretty good. It had Dante, still voiced by Eric Harlacher. The first part had Hyuga whining about trying to cope with not being in the Legend Festival. Then the second part had them about Hikaru and Hyuga whining about how Dante didn't battle them, and then So anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next time for some more Beyblade Burst Surge. Let it rip.